Mama Abebi, a beautiful, 28-year-old woman, was the kind of woman who stood out in her Surulere neighborhood, known for her fiery spirit and unshakable faith. She was a loving mother who juggled life's struggles with grace. Her children, Toby and Dara, were the center of her world, and every Sunday, they'd head to church together, dressed in their best, ready to worship. But one Sunday morning changed everything. The streets leading to Surulere Bus Stop were alive with their usual chaos. Vendors yelled prices, bus conductors shouted destinations, and the air was filled with the mingling smells of fried akara and exhaust fumes. Toby, an energetic 7-year-old, was tugging at his mother's wrapper, while 4-year-old Dara clung to her other hand. "Stay close, my children," Mama Abebi warned as she handed a few naira notes to an akara seller. In that brief moment, when her attention wavered, the world shifted. She turned back, and children were gone. Panic set in instantly. Mama Abebi screamed their names, Toby, Dara, her voice cutting through the din of the bus stop. People stopped to stare but offered little help. She ran from one corner to another, her eyes scanning the crowd, but the children had vanished, as if swallowed by the bustling city. Her first stop was the nearest police station. She burst in, her heart pounding. "My children! They disappeared at Surulere Bus Stop. I can't find them," she cried, clutching a photo of Toby and Dara. The officers, indifferent at first, took her statement and promised to look into it and send her home to wait for their calls. Days turned into weeks, and with each visit to the station, their apathy became more evident. "Madam, we're trying our best," they would say, but the lack of progress gnawed at her soul. Desperate for divine intervention, Mama Abebi turned to her church. She knelt before the altar during a midweek service, her voice trembling. "Lord, you are the Father of the fatherless. Bring my children back to me." The congregation rallied around her, their prayers filling the small church. The pastor reassured her, saying, "God will not fail you. Mama Abebi, keep the faith." Mama Abebi stayed in the church all the time, day and night, praying from morning to evening. But as the months dragged on, her faith began to waver. The silence was unbearable. Each Sunday, she disrupted sermons, standing up and shouting, "Why hasn't God answered? Am I not praying enough?" she said, crying. Some members of the congregation started avoiding her, whispering that her grief was turning to madness. When neighbors suggested she visit Baba Wand, a well-known native doctor, Mama Abebi resisted. She was a devout Christian. How could she turn to such practices? But desperation had a way of softening convictions. One humid evening, she found herself at Baba Wand's shrine, in a village in Ogun State deep in the forest. The air was thick with the smell of herbs and burning incense. Baba Wand, clad in a flowing white garment, greeted her warmly. "Your children are alive, but they're in the hands of wicked people," he said, throwing cowries on the ground. He gave her a concoction to sprinkle at the bus stop and charms to wear. Though she felt a pang of guilt, she followed his instructions to the letter. Still, the children remained missing. Mama Abebi became a woman possessed by her quest. She interrogated bus conductors, stopped strangers in the market, and plastered the streets with posters of her children. "Have you seen these faces?" she'd ask anyone who would listen. The police grew tired of her persistence. "Madam, you cannot come here every day," one officer said. In the church, her cries grew louder, disrupting services. "How can we worship when my babies are out there suffering?" she shouted one Sunday. She was slowly losing her mind. One day she sat on a chair in the sitting, crying for her children bitterly and calling their names out. "Toby, Dara." Her neighbors began to distance themselves, muttering, "Grief has driven her mad." But Mama Abebi didn't care. Her children were her only focus. Nearly a year later, her perseverance bore fruit. A bus conductor recognized the faces on her posters. He remembered seeing the children with a woman who seemed suspicious. She took them to Muchin. "I saw the children with her," he said. Mama Abebi's heart raced. She rushed to the police with the new lead, demanding action. Reluctantly, they launched an investigation. After days of searching, they found the woman and the children in a rundown compound. Toby and Dara were alive but visibly malnourished and frightened. They had been forced into child labor, kept away from the outside world. When Mama Abebi saw them, she fell to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. The reunion was bittersweet. The children clung to her, their small hands trembling. It would take time for them to heal from their trauma, but they were home. Mama Abebi vowed never to let them out of her sight again. The community, once distant, rallied around her. The story of her relentless search became a testament to the power of a mother's love and determination. Even the pastor, who had grown weary of her disruptions, embraced her, saying, "Truly, the Lord works in mysterious ways." Mama Abebi knew that her journey had changed her. It had tested her faith, her strength, and even her sanity. But as she held Toby and Dara close, she whispered, "We are whole again." And she keep on repeating, "Thank to Jesus." Subscribe, like, comment, and share for more stories like this.
Please remember to subscribe to this channel and give my video a thumbs up. Now, see you in my next video soon. Thank you.